hasn't really deployed even a significant fraction of its missile capabilities against Israel during those 12 days. But Israel and the United States, they are rearming. Even the United States is flirting with sending B-2 bombers to Israel in order to prepare it for the next phase of this conflict with Iran. So, Larry, your assessment of the situation,
you see
maybe
me
your
going
evaluation.
back and forth, and I'm going to leave that back and forth on this clip because hold on a second. You mean to tell me I didn't think it was going to happen this fast? So the reason I'm going back is this is first of all, this whole panel. I pray for the day that I can just sit with this panel. Danny Hapyong, Larry Johnson, Scott Ritter, and Garland Nixon. Okay, chef's kiss of a panel, right? I mean, these are like the OGs, if you will, like just people who helped me understand what was going on with American foreign policy back when the Ukraine war started. Now, please, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you, everybody who's watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. The reason why I keep trying to see, I'm like, is this a repeat? Is this a repeat from before? You know, back in the 12-day war last month? This was taped a day ago. A day ago, July 26th. Israel's problems continue to mount. As its defeat in the 12-day war with Iran revealed the truth about its mythical invincibility, which is so true. It is not a machine. Scott Ritter, Larry Johnson, and Gordon Nixon break down just where the Israeli regime is headed, and as it begs the U.S. for new deadly weapons in preparation for another round of war. Without further ado, guys, let's get into the clip.
The 12-day war and where things are now.
No, I viewed it as ultimately a victory for Iran. Because they survived the decapitation attempt. The whole uranium enrichment and Iran's supposed quest for a nuclear weapon, that's all just a distraction. That's a red herring. This has, I think, a lot more to do with eliminating the Islamic Republic and replacing it with a regime that's going to be pliant, obedient to the West. Particularly because Iran is in such a critical spot geographically and economically, now being part of BRICS, that candidly, it's a far more important member of BRICS than Brazil, South Africa, who were founding members of BRICS. And I think you could even make a case more important than India by virtue of Iran's natural gas, oil resources, and its location. But clearly, Israel took a beating with respect to the missiles. The fact that their censors clamped down so hard on the news reporting about what was actually hit. When you look at it, I always say compare what's happened between Russia and Ukraine over the last 3 years, 5 months. In that period, Russia's launched a lot of ballistic missiles, a lot of cruise missiles. They've dropped bombs. They've hit them with tens of thousands of drones. Well, Iran is 3 times the size of Ukraine, both in terms of landmass and in terms of population. And so when it comes to exchanging missiles back and forth, Iran shut down Ben Gurion Airport. Israel only has 1 international airport. There was no other way for civilians to get out. Whereas Iran had 29 international airports. And so Israel shut down 2 of them. Well, they still had 27 more that they could operate out of. Similarly with ports, Israel only had the 2 ports at Ashdod and Haifa. Those were damaged and stopped operating while the war was underway because the insurance companies weren't letting ships go in there.
So, and we don't look at this stuff as an excitement of like, look what Iran did. Yay, win. This is just an actual discussion about what happened on both sides, because if you listen to mainstream media, they'll make you think that like, oh, Iran can't get nothing done. I mean, I've had people say to me, Iran is never a threat. And watch how I'm saying this, because they have nothing. Now, again, I'm not one of those like, oh, Iran is a threat because, they hate us for our freedoms, ever. But what I'm saying is that this person was purposely underestimating Iran, and what we found out, it was like, no, you shouldn't underestimate Iran. But war is what I'm learning, is that war is it's a methodical kind of thing. It's not like what we see in the Hollywood movies. Of course, I'm going to skip over to Scott Ritter's part, and I want to look up this, Israel asking America for more weapons kind of thing, because, we give them whatever they want, but
politics by other means. So, you got to look at what the political objective was, not just what the military action was. And then another one, just an old truism, no plan survives initial contact with the enemy. So no matter what both Israel, United States, and Iran were thinking a conflict would look like, it ended up looking like something totally different. When we go to war as an extension of politics by other means, the stated objective of Israel in attacking Iran, at least initially, was to destroy its capability to produce nuclear weapons. And that, of course, was the United States' stated objective. But Israel has since then acknowledged that this had a regime change component. Indeed, their surprise attack that they initiated on July 12th, the night of July 12th, targeted the senior leadership, especially the senior conservative leadership of Iran, to include Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader. The Israelis acknowledged they were trying to kill him. They struck some places they thought he wasn't there, and they continued to hunt him down and wasn't able to find them. Trump has bragged that he knows where Khamenei is and we could kill him at any time. He bragged. Why, unless you had regime change as the goal and objective, and they failed. So that objective failed. So from a military standpoint, if the true objective of the Israelis was to collapse the regime, which it appears to be, you look at their decapitation strikes, and I just want to remind people that that's a copacetic way of saying murder, because this was a cowardly surprise attack, and I emphasize the term cowardly. It's perfidy, the very definition of perfidy. The United States was engaged in negotiations with Iran, good faith negotiations on the part of Iran, which would address the totality of Israel and America's, nuclear weapons related concerns. A treaty, not a fatwa anymore, but a treaty. And treaties, people understand, have verification mechanisms built into it. So this wasn't just we'll sign a treaty, trust us. This was, we'll sign a treaty and you have verification mechanisms in place to ensure that this treaty is accurate and complied with. Iran was ready to do this, to include, apparently, to allow U.S. inspectors on the ground in Iran. Very big deal. Very big deal. They'd been banned.
And now you don't have that anymore, and the transparency is gone. But that's on America and Israel forever thinking that they could get away with this type of behavior of going in and, of having negotiations. And America, listen, I have to go with what I'm told. Donald Trump said, well, we knew the whole time. We knew this. We helped them with this. Donald Trump came back and took responsibility, saying, well, Israel did this, and, we helped them, and we're going to help them with this mission and all of this other stuff, right? So, okay. Iran is sitting here having a discussion with you with full integrity and transparency, but you guys were planning surprise coward attacks. This pattern of where this constantly happens. I mean, it's even with Russia when there's supposed to be treaties going with Russia, but on the back end, NATO and America's doing whatever it wants to do anyway. So it's just the same. It's the same pattern. So I wanted to look this up because Denny Hapyong said this, and this is being reported after the 12-day war. The U.S. Air Force might send its retired B-2 bombers to Israel. Bad idea. This is written by somebody named Brandon J. Ritter. I have to go with, I hate these type of sites because, it's just like all of the reject all cookies. Seriously, the advertising is disgusting on them. It really is. But anyway, with its U.S. military involvement in the current conflict between Israel and the Islamic Republic of Iran coming to a close, the Israeli government under embattled Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was seeking support of what it calls the Lebanization. Now that's what they're calling it. strategy of Iran after U.S. President Donald Trump struck 3 Iranian nuclear weapons development sites, B-2 Spirit long-range stealth bombers. The American president orchestrated a ceasefire, blah, blah, blah. All right, so let's just move on because I want to get to the part where there are not enough bombers to go around, or bombs. Obviously, in order to make planes effective, the Air Force would also need to hand over at least some of its remaining 30,000-pound GBU-57 bunker buster bombs to the IAF. This would be the Israeli Air Force. This is in addition to their stealth capabilities. So the whole reason why B-2s were involved in Operation Midnight Hammer in the first place. They are the only aircraft Air Force's arsenal rated to carry loose bombs. But there's a problem. There are only 20 of these GBU-57s in the American arsenal before the U.S. strikes against Iranian, that was before, nuclear weapons facilities. During the math, there are now only 6 remaining. And the Pentagon is still planning to replace them with new ones, but that won't come right away. That would be, but still many years in the future. So America only has 6. Remember, it took 14. Yep. So, and Israel wants to, so how much damage can Israel really do with 6? But they want them. And so before I even got to this, because I said, my gosh, I saw Bill would give Trump the go-ahead to give Israel B-2 bunker busters, right? And so this is a bipartisan, I'm going to get the I know I'm going to be stopped. I'm going to have to archive this. The bipartisan bill gives Trump the power to give Israel the power to protect itself against all contingencies if Iran seeks to develop nuclear weapons. This is July 2nd. This was written. That's not that long ago. I just want to see who's written. The measure was, okay, so hold on a second. Legislators have proposed a bill authorizing U.S. President Donald Trump to send B-2 bomber planes and bunker buster bombs to Israel if Iran is still found to be developing nuclear weapons. Fox News reported the measure was proposed by Reps John Gottmeyer, Democrat in New Jersey, and Mike Lawler, I know, Republican in New York, in an effort to allow Trump to take actions to ensure Israel is prepared for all contingencies. So they wrote a bill to allow Trump to do this. Iran Iran, the leading state sponsor of terror. That's how it sounds. And one of America's top enemies can never have a nuclear weapon. That's why I strongly support our military actions earlier this month. Iran has, it's talking points. I had somebody tell me this on a space. Iran has killed scores of Americans, including our service members, and repeatedly attacked our key democratic ally, Israel. Israel must be able to defend itself against Iran. Excuse me for that, as I'm not going to edit it. Sorry. And ensure that Iran cannot rebuild nuclear capabilities. They weren't, though. They weren't. And Israel did a surprise attack on Iran. But this is what Israel calls defending itself, too, by the way. And when you see that there is a rogue little nation far away in the Middle East, what they call a nation, I call it an area. I'm sorry. I try to be, it's hard to be biased, not to be biased. It's not even about bias. It's just facts. Facts lead me to this point. That will go rogue and attack whatever it wants to attack. Well, if they want the bombers, they're pretty much going to get the bombers. I'll keep it at that.